in Tanzania, you have to have local tour guides to get onto the mountain. So you have to hire kind of like the Kilimanjaro version of Sherpa, right?
Sure, yeah.
And it was the first time that I actually got to see like a third world country. And I got to see real poverty. I got to see a caste system.
Yeah.
Like there was a lot of lessons there that changed my life forever. Because here I'm thinking I grew up in poverty. And
meanwhile, your most rich guide has shoes that are duct taped together.
right, like they're not getting government cheese.
Right.
I loved government cheese, but I got to eat government cheese.
Right.
There was a guide who actually, he was the guy that kind of stayed with me when I was separated from everybody else, and I'll go through that. But he always had like a handkerchief that he was always holding, and we never really thought anything of it. And after this whole thing is over, we decide to take a couple of these guides that were really, really good to us and invite them to our hotel to buy him dinner.
Mm-hmm.
So he came, and he's sitting there, and we look at his hand, and his hand is mangled. And it's clearly like it has a chronic infection.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're like, what is this? And so he starts to tell us about how he was walking home, and he got hit by a car. And this is what happened. And so we start asking questions. So here's what really happened. He gets hit by a car. There's no recourse. There's no reason for that car to stop and see if he's okay.
There's no insurance and lawsuits.
There's no car insurance
Right.
to pay for anything. There's no health insurance. There's no hospital. So he had, there's no lawyers to sue the guy driving the car. Nothing.
Right.
None of that infrastructure exists.
Right.
So he got hit by a car. Now his hand is all jacked up, and he has no way of treating it. And he had the handkerchief there because if one of his bosses had seen that he had a big injury on his hand, they would have fired him. He's the only person in his entire extended family that makes money. Being a guide or an assistant guide on this mountain is one of the most lucrative things you can do in Tanzania, like outside of government stuff.
Right.
And so...
And they make dollars a day.
Yes. They make like $8 a day. And I think the guides make a little more, like $15 a day. And it's a caste system. The porters, the ones who are actually running up and down the mountain with like 5-gallon buckets of bathroom waste on their heads, or the food and water, those guys make like $5 a day. And they all aspire to do this because it's the most lucrative. Anyway, right. I got to see what that looks like for real. And it really kind of checked me with my perception of myself of oh, yeah, I grew up in poverty. I was rich,
right,
is the reality.
Yeah. And when we were talking about our stories, we talked about where we came from, but very much we know that what we had was amazing compared to like Tanzania, compared to Iraq.
Right, you saw it there.
Yeah.
Right. I think that nothing can replace the value of going overseas and seeing what a third world country really is like. I think it changes people forever. It makes them appreciate things here in America that most Americans never give a second thought to. It's like the other day, I turned on the stove.
And it just turned on.
And it just turned
fire.
on. And I'm like, I love natural gas. Like, look at this. Isn't this amazing? We have an air conditioner.
Right.
Where we just push a button and it just works. Like, the guys in Tanzania, they have an extended family living in a one-room mud hut.